It wasn't meant to win fights. It wasn't carried for firefights or heroics. Most of the time, it was never drawn. That was the point. In places where chaos moved faster than orders, survival depended on what stayed close, not what was issued, not what was heavy, something small, quiet, easy to forget until the moment it mattered. When systems failed and distance collapsed, this object didn't promise safety, it promised choice. And in war, having a choice, even briefly, changed how people moved, waited, and endured. It stayed out of sight, flat against the body, hidden by fabric, weight, routine. Most people around never knew it was there, and that mattered. It wasn't meant to announce presence. It wasn't meant to escalate anything. Its value lived in restraint. Knowing it existed changed posture, changed patience, changed how long someone could wait before panic took over. In close quarters, when distance disappeared and noise traveled fast, the smallest decisions carried the most weight. This object didn't solve problems. It prevented them from rushing the mind. There's a difference between being armed and being prepared. Preparedness is quieter. It lives in the mind, not the hand. This object marked a boundary, not a plan, not an intention, a limit. Knowing that a final option existed changed how people endured uncertainty. It slowed reactions. It reduced rash decisions. Fear feeds on urgency. Preparedness starves it. Most days, nothing happened, and because nothing happened, restraint proved its value. The pocket pistol didn't push people toward action. It gave them the space to choose not to act. It mattered most where noise carried. Narrow corridors, crowded rooms, temporary shelters where strangers shared walls and waited together. In those spaces, escalation happened fast. A voice raised, a misunderstanding. The pocket pistol changed none of that directly. What it changed was timing. When something felt wrong, it bought seconds. Seconds to listen, seconds to step back, seconds to let a moment pass without turning it into something permanent. Because no one else knew it was there, it stayed neutral, invisible. Its presence didn't provoke, it calmed. Silence isn't empty. Sometimes it's the space where restraint works. Having a choice changes how people treat each other. When someone feels cornered, everything sounds like a threat. Voices sharpen, patience disappears. This object quietly removed that pressure, not by encouraging action, by allowing restraint to feel safe. People who didn't feel trapped moved differently. They listened longer, they waited an extra moment. That behavior spread. Tension eased without explanation. Conflicts dissolved before they formed. No one knew why things felt steadier, they just did. The pocket pistol didn't change outcomes directly. It changed how people arrived at them. And in environments where stress multiplied fast, that difference mattered. Over time, it stopped feeling like equipment. The weight became familiar. The shape disappeared into routine. It was checked without thinking. Not for use, for reassurance. Some adjusted where it sat. Others forgot it was there until stress returned. Either way, it became personal. Lending it felt wrong. Not because it was rare, but because it carried judgment. Habits formed under pressure. In a world where most things were issued, counted, and replaced, this wasn't. A different one wouldn't feel the same. Trust doesn't transfer easily. It had been carried through waiting, uncertainty, and restraint. That history mattered. When the war ended, most things were turned in. Uniforms were folded. Numbers were checked. Equipment was returned, stacked, and forgotten. This wasn't. It stayed in coat linings, in desk drawers, in boxes that crossed oceans and decades. At home, it changed meaning. It no longer belonged to urgency. It belonged to memory. It sat quietly while life restarted. Jobs, families, ordinary routines. It wasn't talked about. It didn't need to be. Its presence wasn't about danger. It was about readiness. The idea that when systems failed once, a person learned to rely on themselves. Over time, it became just another object, until a blackout, a disaster, a moment when waiting wasn't an option. And then the lesson returned. Survival isn't always about force. Often, it's about calm, about having something familiar when uncertainty shows up uninvited. The pocket pistol didn't shape history by being used. It shaped people by being there. Quiet, unremarkable, ready.